line. Things are good. So I think we're ready to go. So I'm getting all excited. You got me all excited here today.
All right.
I'm looking forward to your guests coming into Matthews, right?
Yes,
Boy,
yes.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Jeriah and Cassandra Matthews, and it's a really great story, Rick. You know how it is when, first of all, I just want to thank everybody on the suite for joining in tonight, everybody on the telephone lines, and also I want to say hi to YouTube because we're recording this for YouTube. But, yeah, Rick, you know how it is, these near-death experiences, they always leave us with something. People that go through this always are able to share something afterward that's very profound, that's life-changing, that they didn't get, when they were just traveling or, in the church or whatever. And sometimes there's some opening that happens, a spiritual connection, when somebody goes through this near-death experience. So we thought we'd change it up tonight. And these guys, one of them has a religious background and one of them doesn't. And it's not a witness, but they want to share a little bit of their witness or their church background because it's in reference to the message they have today about love, what they've discovered about love. And it's an amazing message. So anyway, we're looking forward to sharing it. Sound good, Rick?
Yeah, everything's good. My goodness gracious, I'm sitting back here. If you need me, I'll be here. So you can bring those guys on, and we're listening. We got a big crowd.
All right.
My goodness, guys. We got a big crowd listening in tonight on our telephone network. Yeah.
All right, good.
All right.
Well, they're standing right over here by us, so as soon as I read their little bio here, I'm going to have them come in here, and you guys can see what they look like because we can't figure out how to do the Skype and all that on their iPhone. So here we go. So our guest tonight is Jeriah and Cassandra Matthews. So Jeriah and Cassandra were both raised in Idaho. Cassandra not having been raised with hang-ups about religion, and Jeriah having been raised in Pentecostal Christianity. As a young boy, Jeriah could not help but notice the hypocrisy in the church, and the more he learned and saw, the more questions he seemed to have. The art of transparency, honesty, and integrity greatly lacking from his vantage point, honesty and integrity being very important to him now. I'll let Jeremiah tell you more. But maybe the most interesting thing about the two of them is the fact that they have both had near-death experiences that changed their lives forever. They have incredible life stories to share with us tonight that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Cassandra is the mother of 3 children, nearly grown now, and Jeriah is the father of 2 young adults and 2 teens, so he's got 4 children. One other important thing I need to share with you tonight is that they are newlyweds, having been married just 16 days now, and they've been together, though, for about 8 years. Cassandra and Jeriah thrive on the deep love that they have built after many struggles and having endured many struggles and surviving so much together. Their love and respect for each other is growing, and that love, I'm sure you'll agree, is touching many lives, as I'm sure it'll touch yours tonight. So I'm going to have them come over right now and say hi so you can see who the guests are that we're interviewing tonight. So here they come. Hold on.
Just say hi to everybody. There you are.
Hello. Oh, sorry.
You're good.
Hello.
Cassandra.
Jeriah.
So you're in there, and that's the suite, and there is our YouTube live that we're going to do. So you can look up there and then look down there. Okay?
So, guys, they wanted to say hi. And feel free to question them as they're talking and sharing. Feel free to ask them any questions. Butt in. We're just going to be gabbing along. But this is them, Rick. This is the 2 beautiful couple.
All right.
Well, I see them. They do look like a beautiful couple. They look like they just stepped out of a Hollywood movie. They look really, really good.
I know, that one movie, what's it called? Fast and Furious. Doesn't he look like the Fast and Furious guy?
And he even shaves his head, too.
I love him.
And I'll try forever to be Angelina Jolie, but you get what you get.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you so much for having us on, and yeah, we hope we can help.
All right,
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, and that's the end of the show. No, I'm just kidding.
We got to put him out. We got to put him in the woodshed now.
Yeah.
We got to get him in the
Well, I
woodshed.
guess they're right there with you. It looks like they're right there with you in Idaho.
They are, Rick.
So
They are.
They're right here in our house, and we're going to enjoy their presence
Boy, you
the whole
guys
weekend.
are really getting professional out there. Boy, that's wonderful. I was wondering what's going on.
I don't know if we're getting more professional or getting crazier. I don't know. Oh, God. I was told on Facebook last week, a guy says, "My God, you post every day. Take a break." He's like,
You're wearing us
let's
out."
go bi-weekly. I said, okay, you're probably right.
All
Oh my
right.
God. So,
We're letting them get down all situated in the chapel. They're going to our little chapel house building over there. And so, Jeriah, are you guys there? Can you hear us? If you can't, what you need to do...
We can hear you.
Yay, excellent. Okay.
we coming in good, Rick?
Oh, you're coming in really good, really nice and loud and clear. Everything's great.
Okay, here we go. So anyway, tonight, I just want to start off, with Jeriah, I guess. They both, had near-death experiences, but I just want to start a little bit with Jeriah's religious experience. Like, what was it like when you were growing up? I mean, you were in some form of, I don't know if it was Pentecostal. It sounded strange to me when you told me about it, people jumping around and acting crazy. But tell me a little bit about your religious experience, what that was like, why you got out of it, because here's the thing. A lot of people on here wonder, where the hell do you go? We had the truth. Where do you go after that? And if somebody would have went into something that you were into, I think they'd have freaked out. They'd have said, yeah, that is the freak show the witnesses talk about. That is the crazy world outside of Jehovah's Witnesses. So I want people to know that it can be just as crazy after the witnesses. It can be just as nutty in some of these other religions. So not all religions are bad. I don't want to say that. People go into charismatic, different type religions, Pentecostal. It doesn't matter. But tell us about your experience, Jeriah. What was it like? Was your family religious? What was going on in there?
All right. Well, all I can speak for really is my experience and how it made me feel. And I have to preface everything with the fact that as a young man, and coming up in a religious community, that was in itself, a lot of people were coming fresh off of the streets, fresh from this, fresh from that. We were in outreach where, the church that I was in, so it was touted as non-denominational. However, we had evangelists coming in from all over the place. Karen Wheaton, there were a lot of big names back then with the big evangelical movement. But I was a kid, and so that's what I had. That's the scope of experience that I had to deal with all of these things. Looking at it, I still saw Goliath as this 200-foot tall thing that David, this little puny kid, was defeating. I saw demons as these things with hot breath and big wings and stuff. And it was all pushed on us as kids as this is something that you really need to believe in. This is something that you need to get into. And we went into church, with, God is love and all of the verses and all of those things that we had to memorize. But then we get into the church and there's people laying hands on each other and the healing movement and the healing explosions and things. And as a kid, you don't have the scope of experience. You can't put those things into contact because you don't have the experience to understand it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you can't understand the casting out of a demon as a kid because you have no understanding of those things. So growing up through that, you're seeing the people with the looking out of the group that's laying on their hands and they have, they're like telling the wife, it'll just be a minute or whatever, and people getting slain in the spirit, speaking in tongues. One guy just gets initiated into the church and, the next thing you know, it's sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. And the other guy, sha-la-la, and, and they're copying each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, there were so many things, you need to be this way, you need to be that way. You need to be pure, you need to be this or that. But the leaders of the church, they're all worried about hierarchy and the pecking order and follow the rules and this is that. And none of it made sense as a kid. Nothing was visceral. Nothing was anything I could touch. So as kids, I can speak only for myself, but as a kid, I got in tune with faking it. This is the way that it's supposed to be. This is the way that it's supposed to feel. But I was faking those feelings just because that's the way it had to be. So growing into adulthood, or sub-adulthood, puberty, oh my God, how confusing, right? Women are supposed to be this beautiful thing, and yet the men are getting divorced. The men are, it's such a confusing experience. So getting back to getting out of that mentality, religion being religion. I couldn't reconcile the real world with the feelings that I was supposed to have. You know what I mean? Love. What is love? I don't know. Love is a word that we say. What is patience? Patience is something that I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for patience. I said that as a kid. Strength. The only strength that I knew was the strength that I had to exhibit to make myself shut up, or to make myself sit in the corner and endure these things that just made me tired and I didn't understand. How do you go from being a kid to an adolescent to an adult, trying to reconcile these figments with the real world and real emotion? Coming into love, what is love? I don't know. I have no idea. How do I love a woman? How do I love my friend? How do I love my neighbor? I have no idea. So, of course, going for feelings, where do you turn? I mean, and growing up, 80s, 90s, everything became more and more available. Women started wearing less clothing. Men started becoming more forward. Just all of the things that we're supposed to accept alongside the feelings that we're supposed to be having about God and, everything around us. Nothing fit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing fit. And so the confusion that's engendered by the religion, seeing hypocrisy in the kids, because the kids, we don't have any filter. We don't have anything except what we see, what we're told. Who do we trust? Our parents. What we're taught. And our parents are teaching us all these things, yet they're not exhibiting it. They're not exhibiting it because of the hierarchy of the church pushing down on them. Pentecostal, I mean, however you look at it, whatever religion it may be, it's all right. It's fundamentally love. That's the one thing that I knew was pure.
Let me ask you a question.
I didn't feel it. I didn't know it.
Let me ask you a question. Didn't you believe it in the sense that they were showing you stuff in the Bible, like your parents, were they saying, "Look, it says right here you can speak in tongues. Look right here, it says these are the gifts." And weren't you buying? It's interesting to me that you weren't buying into it at all. You weren't. You were, something was wrong. You were saying, somehow you got outside the brainwashing. You weren't being sucked in. I don't understand that, because most of us when we're young we're codependent on our daddy. We want to make daddy happy. We want to make mom happy. We want to make pastor happy. But in your case, there was something speaking to you that was saying, no, I don't understand. I don't understand. And I just wonder what that was. I mean, I know you saw some hypocrisy, but here's what happens in the witnesses. They show us things in the Bible and we go, "Ooh, yeah." And they say, "God's name's Jehovah." "Oh, yeah." And we're the only ones who worship Jehovah. And he's not a Trinity. And we go, "Oh, my God, we're different." And we start buying into all this shit. And then they what do I call it? They reinforce it by saying it over and over and over and over and over, threaten us to leave. But before you know it, we believe it. But in this particular case, it doesn't sound like you believe it.
Bottom line, indoctrination. Dan, I have to say, it's bottom line, all it is indoctrination.
Hey,
because if you're not teaching something that you know. Yeah.
Would you guys do me a favor? We're getting a good bit of echo from that room. Would you be able to just open the back doors there that go more out towards the river, and just put your legs down on the ground and just sit on the edge of the stoop
there might be mosquitoes.
And that might help.
Is it better here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a ton.
Yeah, they're in a shed, Rick. We're just getting. It's not the phones. It's just we're getting a little bit of echo from the building.
If you guys start getting bit with mosquitoes, I'll have you come in and go in the office, okay? And we'll just do that.
No hurry.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to say, it's bottom line, it's indoctrination, because you have, my parents, they wanted to be a part of the church. They knew the word. They didn't understand the word because nobody that was teaching actually understood it. Nobody that was teaching actually got the word and could pass it on. And I'm not saying that the Bible, I know, there are a lot of principles in there that I do agree with. I mean, the words,
yeah,
God is love. Spread love. Love thy neighbor. love, that permeates the whole Bible. And the other things that are taught to the people in the church, they're taught maybe by people that don't understand it, or they don't have passion, they don't get it themselves. And you can't teach something that you don't know. So the parents are, they're telling their kids to do something that they don't get. The kids are seeing the duplicity of the way that the whole congregation is acting, and to have any kind of translation into real life and action, it's completely lost. It's such a muddle. So,
and I know that you're speaking with Jeriah, but I think that's one of the reasons why I never got into religion, is because I didn't understand, and it was never taught in a way that for children to understand. It was taught how it was supposed to be taught, and that you were just, and I always thought every religion as something different, just like how race is, just how everything is in this, how this world is anymore. It's segregation, and I never thought why people are supposed to believe in these things when it's all supposed to be one thing. And for me, that's always been love. And so why should I put myself into a church or a situation where it's everything is supposed to be love, but you're segregated into different religions.
You see judgment.
You see judgment from all the different religions. And why is that? That's something I never got, and that's why I've never been involved in any sort of religion. My religion has always been within me, and I was given love, and that is my religion.
Yeah.
Wow. I think that's amazing. I just think it's amazing. I actually think it's a blessing if you're born without the indoctrination. I suffered, and a lot of people on this channel have suffered a lot of physical and mental illnesses because of religion. My body has been beat up. I've had hemorrhoids. I've had ulcers. I've had all sorts of things because I've lived in the tension of an angry God. Think about that. They've made God into a monster. Right. They told him he's going to kill me if I ever leave. I've had so many death threats. I did a post on it this week. I said, how many death threats does it take to keep a Jehovah's Witness in? Continually. We were continually told if we were left, we'd suffer the second death. There's no resurrection. We were told if we left, we were pigs returned to the vomit. We told if we were left, we were going to be crushed under Jehovah's teeth, under Jehovah's feet. We were threatened when we left. And that is a scary thing. When you believe the Bible and you believe the stuff in it and you say it's true and you believe that's you suffer when you get out of there. You go through hell, emotional hell. And I think you guys are better off.
Yeah, it's fear. Fear. The fear of a thing is the best way to. It's the best way to control people. Fear is, and I think the basic message of the Bible, obviously, as we think, the basic message of life, the basic purpose in life, is to love each other. And then with religion, and I'm not sure which ones don't, but what religion tells you that you can be just a completely basic human being, loving everybody, loving your neighbor, loving. What religion says that that's okay? Do that, and you'll be just fine. There's no fire and brimstone. There's no crushing under the feet. There's no restriction. Mm-hmm. It's just be good. Be good. And that's kind of the principle that we're coming to today, or our journey. We left a while ago from everything that we knew, and we went out with each other just because of the struggles that we've been through. Just because nothing made sense. Religion, it didn't make sense. Wherever we went to a Catholic church. We went to that what was that one? Under the Protestant church. We've been to all kinds of churches, and churches are locked at night. Churches you go into, and everybody wants to tell you a certain message, but it all comes down to you've got to be this certain way.
And we've been along our journey. We've looked up churches online to go and see if they had any way to help. Just because that's what every church presents themselves as, is we accept anyone, and it doesn't matter what religion it is. If you aren't dressed a certain way, if you don't present yourself a certain way, you actually are not welcome there.
Right.
They can say it all they want. There's judgment spread wherever you go. You can't come as you are. You can't. You come as what is
Expected.
you know,
Is
what is right within their church.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that was a real eye opener, because you know, when you have nothing, you're down to that, you know, last spoon of soup, and you just need something. You need somebody, some validation. And you go in there, and the doors are locked. There are people in it, and they won't let you in, even though they spread it all around that you're welcome anytime. Our arms are open. You find out that they're not.
Yeah.
When that's all we're trying to spread. I mean, it's just, and I know that you guys have questions. I'm sorry that we just kind of led into that.
Me and Angela, we visited a lot of churches, and we came out of there because we wanted to find the truth. Where is the truth? Where the hell is it? It's got to be in one of these churches, right, Angela?
Right, and there's got to be our family somewhere.
And so, man,
Right.
we went to church after
Got to
church.
be in a church, yeah.
And you know what happened? It was like they were all different. We went to about 200 different Christian churches, and they were all different. They were all, you know, we're charismatic. Oh, my God, they're charismatic. You know, they jump around. Oh, my God, they believe in the gifts. Oh, my God, they don't believe in the gifts. You know what I mean? And it was like, wow, I didn't know there was so many differences when I got outside of religion. And here's the other thing. I was in Seventh-day Adventist. I was in Nazarene. I was in these are now so-called cults. I mean, there are other cults, they call them. But I wanted to see what they were about. And usually, what'd you say, Angela? We had a 6-month window. But we would go to the Bible study or whatever, maybe listen to a talk. But we were on about a 6-month window. And kind of like Cassandra said, you're out of here. Are you guys going to join the church? Are you going to join our idea? Are you going to be an elder, Dan? Are you going to? We want you to serve in our church. I said, yeah, but if I do, I've got to edge everyone else out. I've got to say I'm an Adventist, which means every other Christian denomination I can't go into, or Nazarene, right, Angela? Same thing. It was like, get out of our church. Get out of here. They started going into the Bible studies we were in, the elders and the pastors, and they'd go into these Bible studies, and I'm like, we're just sharing the truth, like you guys are all doing around the table.
Lutheran.
But we'd say one thing out of line. I'd say, Jesus said these things and greater you would do. Their eyes would start fluttering, and they'd say, get the hell out of here. And I'd say, why? And they'd say, why do you say that? Why can't you just accept this here? Why can't you just accept this idea? And I'd say, well, you know, just for your information, I'm not the one who said it. Jesus said it. These things and greater you will do. Why are you mad at me? Why are you mad at me when I say, as he said, as I am in union with the Father and the Father's in union with me, that you would come into union with us, the Godhead? When I said that, they were madder than hell. And I said, guys, these are the words of Jesus, right? These are the ones, you know. And man, it just depended where you go.
There's a lot of judgment.
There's a lot of judgment, just like you guys said. So we never settled in. We just visited and maybe did a few things, but it got to the point where we got the dirty look. You guys aren't coming on board.
Right. And I want to bring up I know that we spoke about this earlier, but one thing that really hit me was when I was told about, when I was telling Jeriah about how I played with Cabbage Patch Kids until I was in 7th grade, and I really didn't want anyone to know, but I was telling him one night how I played school with my Cabbage Patch Kids until I was in 7th grade, and the story that he had to tell about Cabbage Patch Kids was something that I was not expecting to hear out of his mouth. It was that at his church, Cabbage Patch Kids were burned at a cross. And for me, thinking about a Cabbage Patch Kid for my birthday was the biggest treat in the world to add to my collection. And he's going to step in real quick. But to have these Cabbage Patch kids being burned, like these kids that I was teaching fake school to, being burned at a cross, I couldn't. It baffled my mind.
Like literally burned? Like, what happened?
Yeah, let me give you this setup. What happened is, the church that we were going through, like I said, it was kind of non-denominational, but, there were people that were just searching. And so people that are lost are easily influenced. And, I'm not saying that anybody took advantage of, but maybe people did take advantage of that, that sense of, what am I doing? So there's families, there's newcomers, there's this and there's that. So somebody put down through the grapevine in the church system that we were in, that Cabbage Patch dolls were evil and that they all had demons in them. So imagine as, a 5, 6, 7-year-old, your sister's playing with Cabbage Patch dolls. They've had their collection.
13 in my case.
Right. And somebody says that Cabbage Patch dolls are possessed by demons. And when they're sold, they attach to your child. So the church that I'm in, they gathered up all the kids' Cabbage Patch dolls. They took them out to this bluff overlooking the ocean underneath this cross, and they burned them. And it's a potluck. It's this great celebration. All getting rid of demons and everything. But as kids, what does that mean? My little toy, my this and my that, is getting burned because it has a demon in it. I was playing with that thing. What have I done?
That sounded like a witch hunt.
No! What am I doing?
My God.
It's just that indoctrination of fear of any object could be possessed. I mean, come on. We're kids.
Dan, should we tell him about Smurfs?
Yeah.
Sure.
Go ahead.
I don't know about Smurfs.
What happened to Smurf?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing.
Go ahead.
Same kind of thing. What I wanted to say was, if you want to find a mission, go and feed people in the soup kitchen or work for the hospital auxiliary. That's where it's at.
That's good.
I'm really enjoying hearing about this. And when you had your near-death experience, did you see any numbers?
That's the thing. For Cassandra, well, here, baby.
When I had my near-death experience, I'll have to explain exactly what happened. Numbers have always been. I've always loved the number 9, but it didn't play a part in my near-death experience. My near-death experience happened because of the abuse of alcohol, because of what I was hiding behind it. And alcohol, to me, was something that masked everything that I was. I knew that I was a happy person always, a happy, loving person always, but for some reason, that's what I was expected to be at all times, and even times in sadness and in grief. It not even with just something that happened, but just within myself. And sooner or later, the alcohol caught up to me. And when I died, I mean, I had support from all of these people that I never even knew that they felt the way that they did towards me. But it took me dying for them to express the feelings that they had towards me. And for that, it was really to wake up and see all of these messages that I had been this all along, but nobody had told me until I was laying there dead, and I came back, thankfully, and I knew that the reason why I came back is because I had a purpose. It was a purpose more than what I had already been on this earth for. I had more to give, and I believe that's the reason why I'm still here. I believe that my children are the reason why I'm still here. And I believe that love is seriously what kept me through being gone this day. And that was me. And I've learned through that I need to go spread my light and my love and with people thinking of me as the same person that I was before my death experience, they don't bother to take a look at the person that I am now.
So,
yes,
I just wanted to jump in real quick and kind of give you a little shout out, because you are one of the most amazing people and always have been. And so when you got sick and we didn't know what was going on with you, and we didn't know for the longest time, it was heartbreaking. And anyone that has ever met you, that has come into life, you've entered into their life, you shine so bright. And it's unfortunate that, people haven't told you that, because you are just fabulous and amazing, and I'm so proud of both of you. I'm holding back tears right now.
Thank you.
Okay.
Jump in. I'm going to jump out now and let you continue. But I don't want you to think that people never, said,
Joe?
Hi.
Hey. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but I've got to explain something here, Chelsea. Can I, please?
Go for
when
it.
Cassandra
Go
died,
for it,
her experience, brought me to the point of wanting to die again. I'm sorry to jump ahead of the story, Chelsea, but this lady that's talking, this young lady that's talking, Chelsea, she stood there and she reinforced the fact that Cassandra loved me through her experience of dying. Cassandra died. She was gone. I thought that I was never going to see her again. I thought that, it was all gone. But I put years of love, and she put years of love into me. And when...
I said, Cassie's going to wake up. Cassie's going to wake up, and she's going to see it. And I guarantee you. And I knew. And I knew in my heart, I felt it. I felt this to the strongest feeling that you could possibly feel. And you can call it spiritual, you can call it godly, you can call it whatever you want to call it. But I felt it in my heart, and I knew it, and I was like, I believed it. I was not even worried. I was like, nope, Cassie's going to wake up, and she's going to have a minute, and then she's going to find her voice, and that's exactly what happened.
Because she was unconscious 3 months, right?
I'm gonna,
She was unconscious 3 months,
What's
right?
that?
She was unconscious about 3 months, correct? About?
2 weeks, but I was still on the medication that didn't let my mind really know what was going on. But I had Chelsea to speak to Jeriah for me.
Gotcha.
When we hadn't spoken much, and for her spirit to shine through what she knew about me, through what she knew what was right, she allowed Jeriah to have the feeling that he had to not want to
not wither, not go away. I have to, let me say the story. Cassandra, she had acute organ failure, and it was because of alcohol. It was because of her toxic shock syndrome, mostly alcohol. But when she died, that was after 7 years of us being together and us going through this and that. I mean, family oppression, family just kind of abandoning us and trying to separate us, friends trying to separate us. And so I'm left out in this, this mystery land of, is the woman that I have said is the love of my life alive or dead? Is she still loving me? Is there any possibility? And the only thing that I had to hold on to was the fact that I loved her. And that's, it didn't slip. It just, it's hard to hold on to something that you're not sure of.
No religion can teach
love.
The way that you perceive it, the way that it actually is.
That's the thing, from birth. Like a kid shouldn't be taught that this person is wrong or that person is wrong or anything like that. No religion can tell you that, this is the right way or that's the right way. The parents should just exhibit love to a child, because that's all that they are programmed to understand until a certain point. Until a kid can go out and experience life, as an adolescent, prepubescent, teenager, whatever it is, until you can go and experience these things for yourself, you can't be taught beyond your scope of experience. Your character, your everything, it has not been built up enough to the point that you can understand these things. Religion does not account for that. A child should be out playing in the woods, the swimming in the river, climbing trees, doing these things that kids are supposed to enjoy, and not burdened with the problems or the ideals of adults. It's not supposed to happen. Or religion, God, demons, flying things, brimstone, fire, sulfur, death, life.
Armageddon.
Shit.
Oh, I know.
You're kidding me. What the heck am I supposed to do with all this stuff? Daniel, Revelations, John, Mark, all of that stuff, they deal with things that is so far beyond a child's understanding that given this information, a child is just, they're looking at TV, they're looking at books, and that's all they can understand is these great big winged beasts coming down and snatching them up and taking them down to the pit of hell because you said the F word, or because you thought of a woman's touch or a girl's touch on her hand was this or that, and you feel shame and you feel judgment and all that stuff. No, these are human things. These are humans, and they should be explained.
They're natural.
And the care should be taken by adults, by the leaders of the church, by whoever it is, as human. And that it's natural, and that it's a part of growing up, and it's a part of life.
And it doesn't take a church to teach you those things. These are things that come naturally. These are things that a child is supposed to feel as soon as they come out of a woman. As soon as they come out of their mother, they're supposed to feel love. Love that doesn't happen because you go to a church and that's who is supposed to love you. No, you're supposed to feel love regardless. Love happens naturally. It's not because somebody tells you what you are supposed to love
or what love is.
You feel it. It's a natural feeling that everyone feels. And so why be she? Yes, we'll let you know, John.
What I think is so interesting, guys, is we were in a religion that promoted fear of Jehovah. Jehovah's angry. Jehovah's jealous. Jehovah's going to vindicate his name. Jehovah's going to slaughter everybody. When I went back and met my family, they're like, Jehovah's going to kill you, you piece of crap. It was like, wait a minute. God is love. Like you guys are talking about love. Right. And so here was my conclusion. I just made a note. It's just a little one line, but it says, I just said, I think religion, and I shouldn't say all of them, because there probably are some good ones, some good people, some loving pastures, but I want to say with this, from my religious perspective, coming out of Jehovah's Witnesses, religion taught me what God was not. Religion taught me what God was not. They told me, they painted a picture of a psychopath. Someone that said, if only those who call in the name of Jehovah will be saved. What the hell does that mean? Well, what it means is, and what witnesses teach, is genocide. Genocide to everyone outside the doors of Kingdom Hall. That is the truth. Only those who call in the name of Jehovah will be saved. So I grew up in it. I used to go to the door when I was done. I'd say, you're dead. You're dead. You didn't accept Jehovah's word. You didn't accept, that he's not this and he's not that and he's not. But they spent 90% of the time telling us how angry Jehovah was, and don't ever leave. Don't ever leave. I had so many death threats on me. That's what made me sick. That's why people come out of there sick. Why? Religion, a lot of them, use the Bible as a deadly weapon to put threats on us. Death threats, because we believe it. If we believe that's the Word of God, unequivocally the Word of God, and it says this, then I'm guilty. Go ahead,
That's so bizarre. For anybody it doesn't matter if you're, I was a kid going through this, but, the outreach that I was in, it was pure, I believe, in the beginning. The man that led the church that I went to, I think he had a real handle on what truth was. I think he was handling his mortality at that time. Didn't get that until later on in life when I understood those things. But when the patriarch or whatever of the church that we were at died, the church just fragmented into pieces because the leadership was gone. This guy had a pure thought, he had pure intent, and I just have to say, this guy, I still think of him to this day, Dave Monroe. As a kid, I could see emotions on people's face. They taught us to be. They taught us to believe in God. They taught us to believe in all these things, to repeat the scriptures and everything. The feeling wasn't there. We'd go, there'd be these laying on of hands, being slain in the spirit. And as kids, we're not getting slain in the spirit. We're laying down when these people put their hands on our heads so we could get out of class, And so we're laying there for 20 minutes, and then the next thing we know, it's recess. The bell rings, and I am done. Oh, what a great vision I had. I'm going to go draw that for recess, And it wasn't a real thing. So as you get into, as you mature, you're trying to replicate those feelings that you were taught were supposed to be there, but they're not really there. So it's like it's fomenting lies and pretty much judgment because other people aren't the way that you are.
And for me, not growing up in religion, where I was taught love is through my grandfather. My grandpa went to church on Easter, and every so often in between, and I'm not even quite sure what church it was that we went to, but where I learned my love was through his love for my grandmother, and that's how I learned my love. I learned that my grandpa, what was that? Yeah, he wrote notes to my grandmother all the time, just letting her know that she was loved. And for me, that was my religion. You don't have to be in a religion to be loved. You should be loved regardless.
Yeah.
And seeing that through my grandpa and knowing that man loved me just for who I was, and seeing it in his eyes every time I talked to him, and just the way he talked about my grandma, I knew that I didn't need a religion to believe in because I had what was the greatest thing, and that was love. And I felt it. I felt it with everything that I had, and and as far as Jeriah was saying, when the pastor died, how everything kind of just went to shit. That's kind of how it was when my grandpa died. It's like the family traditions weren't the same anymore. Not everybody showed up the way that they did when my grandpa was alive, making sure that everybody was there all the time. And it didn't take religion. It took love and him just wanting everybody to be together. And that's how I feel now. That's how we feel. That why does anybody have to have hate towards one another? Why?
Why is there a separation?
When everybody could just love each other for who they are. Why not figure out the reasons why they're upset? Why not figure out the reasons why people are the way that they are? It's because they haven't had the love that for some reason they've been resisted. And if you can feel that, if you can feel it, and figure out why not? Why sit there and segregate yourself? There's no reason for it. Love everyone for who they are.
Yep, and I think what you guys have done as you've moved toward what is natural as opposed to unnatural. When I got out of the witnesses, the first thing I saw was all these loving people. At first I thought Jehovah was going to reach over the mountain and grab me out of my convertible car and throw me across the thing and beat me under his feet. But after a while, I started saying, God, these people are really nice. One lady said, Dan, I think you're kind of sick. I want to pay for you to have some stuff. She didn't even tell me. They wanted me to have some colonics to clean my liver because I spray lacquer.
And his tongue was purple or something.
Yeah, my tongue was purple. And the lady goes, oh, that's your only visible organ. You need help. Now, this was a perfect stranger, guys. And this lady sat down with me and she said, you can tell me anything. I want to be your friend anyway. I won't go into all that story. But, she probably paid close to $4,000
Man.
for me to get well, because these colonics were like 75 or 125 a piece. And I asked the guy, I said, well, how many do I need? He goes, well, we'll just say 30 to 40 to start, like 3 to 4 a week. And I said, I don't have that money. He says, they're all paid for. Why in the hell would a stranger? I start saying, oh my God, I've bastardized all these people. I've wished they were dead. I wished Armageddon would come so I could be in paradise. And these people were saving my life. These people were helping me. The lady comes over, goes, oh my God, you don't have a computer. Let's go buy you a computer. Do you want a computer? And my other wife says, oh, we can't accept that. And she goes, oh, I'm not going to tolerate it. You guys got to have a computer. And they were just, it was one thing after another. Your girls need dolls. We're going to go to Disney this week. We're going to bring your kids back dolls. And I kept thinking, so finally I meet this lady's husband, and he gives me this 10-minute hug and rubs my back. And I said, who are you guys? What do you want from me? And they said, we're supposed to love one another. We're supposed to love one another. That's what we're supposed to do. Isn't that what the Bible says? And I said, but it doesn't cost anything? I don't have to be in your religion? No, it's what we're supposed to do, they said. And, guys, that broke me. That love, like you guys are talking about, even Jeriah said that love for Cassandra melted him. He just let go of alcohol like it was nothing.
And you guys, you know what? Years and years later, when I was married to Dan, not all that long, we found out that woman was an ex-Jehovah's Witness. And see, had she told Dan that she was an apostate, then he would have run like the Dickens and been afraid to death of this woman.
Yeah.
But she had to keep that private and secret so that she could reach out and do what she could to help an ex-Jehovah's Witness. Now, that is a stand-up person, I'm telling you what. But, I was going to say, too, that because of Dan visiting so many churches and so many different ways of life and so many different kinds of churches known to mankind, and read every kind of book, he really truly, I witness him as being an old shoe that everybody feels comfortable around, because he doesn't judge, where they're at or the religion that they're in or how they see God. He just has such love and compassion for so many people. I mean, I see him write posts that are pretty powerful, but he's doing it out of love, purely love, because he wants to see people free and happy. But he's just an old shoe, and I love old shoes. I don't know about you, but like, your grandpa, grandpa was the old shoe, right? Your grandpa. Go ahead.
And Angela, the way that you explained him when we met you on the side of that hill, you explained him to a T, and that made Jeriah and I want to, we made it a point to be able to meet this man that you were talking so highly about, how he enriched your life just with the love that he has given you and with the love that he's given everyone without judgment. That's why we came running down just to see this man that you explained as this man that just accepts anybody for who they are. He only has love in his heart, and he accepts anyone. And why do you think we were so excited? It's because we don't really belong anywhere, but we can fit in everywhere. It's just because of the love that we have for people, for the love that we have for each other. And we wanted to meet this man that you spoke so highly about. It was exciting for us. And Jeriah wants to chime in.
Well, it goes back to the stripping down of self, that we were talking about. That it's the whole idea that that I'm important, that what I have to say is important. I think that gets in the way of a lot of things, and religions, I think, they give you that power, they give you that judgment, they give you that, that raising up. You're on a level that's above other people, and you need to help them out of their misery. And what we found, I mean, our struggle was, God, it's not been easy,
What about you in your life?
Cassandra and I, we were going through this one point. She had left for a little bit. We'd gotten in an argument, and it was just, I was at a very, very vulnerable point. more vulnerable than I think I've ever been. And, I loved this woman, and I knew that I loved her for something that I'd seen in her. I didn't know how to express love. I didn't know how to fully be in it. I knew it. I felt it. But until it's reciprocated, you can't understand it fully until you can fall selflessly into somebody and just say, you are what I need. You know what? I see that I can be nothing without you. It doesn't matter if it's a God. It doesn't matter if it's just a feeling, if it's a whatever it is. It's the feeling of knowing that you as a self means nothing. You with everyone else means everything. That's the principle that's lost in love, and the teaching of flipping religion is that you don't have to be this, you don't have to do that. Come as you are means exactly what it says. Come as you are. I will wash you clean, and you will be exactly perfect just the way that you are. Whether your hair's this way, you came from this past to that past. And, even though it wasn't on a religious level between me and Cassandra, I had to let go of me, in so many ways to realize that the love that I felt was real. And the belief in love was all I had. And this one day, we'd gotten into this argument, and I was drunk. I was really, really just drunk and lost, and I took my life. And the one of the things I remember is I messaged my mom. I said, "I love you, Mom." And I went and I bought some razors, and I cut, and then I cut. And the next thing I knew, there was nothing except I felt my toes going numb, and I'm watching the blood squirt out of my arm, and I'm watching my legs go numb, and then my fingertips, I watched my hands turn like this purple and then just gray. And then the next thing I knew, I have no idea how much longer it was. I was laying on my back, and it was like my eyes weren't closed, but I opened my eyes, and there was my mom. And I told you this, but it's it's so profound. There was my mom, and she looked at me. She turned her head, and she kind of just disappeared from view. And then the next thing I know, I'm in a bed and all of this, and I believed in just losing everything because I had nothing. And it didn't matter if people believed. It didn't matter if people saw. I didn't even know. I didn't want anything. I didn't have the woman that I loved, and it meant everything to me. It meant the world to me. Because I felt love really. This wasn't something that somebody had told me to feel. It wasn't something that was taught. It was real love.
Experiential.
I want to say something, too, about that, just if I could. I want to agree with that gal who was on earlier, the one who said that you guys radiate love. When Angela, when you guys came down the trail and Angela had talked to you, I almost cried because I felt your love for me as a stranger.
And we saw it on your faces.
How could you love me as a stranger? I'm like, and your wife was beaming, and you weren't married yet. They just got married. But you know what's weird? I saw the same thing. I'm going to tell you something. Love is not of this world. When I was a witness, I did not know how to love. They didn't teach me how to love. They kept me in fear. They kept me in, delusion. You know what I'm saying? I was scared of my own self. I didn't trust myself, and I didn't know how to love. Like you said, who can teach you love? And so, anyway, long story short, when I saw you guys come down that trail, when I saw you guys, I saw love. I saw your love for your I'm going to just say your wife. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, they were married, 6 days married at the
Oh,
time.
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
they were married.
And I saw her love for you. And I'm telling you guys, it was like you were plugged in to something. Like you were plugged in. And I kind of knew what it meant when it said, you know, take that love into the world. That's what the Bible says. Take that love into the world. Take my love into the world. And so when I felt that, I felt like you guys would love me no more. It was like unspoken. You didn't even have to speak a word.
Yeah.
But I felt accepted. I felt like, and I do have a problem with people. I have a problem with the governing body. I'm just going to tell you, I have a real problem with those guys. I think they're criminal. I think they're covert. I think they're mind controllers. I don't like them. I want them gone. I'm possessed. I have to tell you guys, you know, Angela said all these things about me, but I want these guys gone. I'm tired of them. You know what I'm tired of them? I am tired of them stealing lives. I am tired of the governing body bringing people in with a carrot of paradise and then programming them in fear, death threats when they leave. I want them gone because you know what? The Bible says we're supposed to have life and have it more fully. It says we're supposed to be the light of the world. Not only Jesus. Jesus said we are to be the light of the world. Take your light into the world. Shine your light. And you know what? There's no damn light to shine. I'm scared to death. I lived my whole life scared to death. And then I had several years when I got out of there. Angela, too.
Oh, yeah.
Woke up crying in the bed. What's wrong? Oh, you know, she had the Old Testament stuff running through her head.
Yeah, I couldn't dare read the Bible, or I would just feel this horrible sense that I'm that person the Bible's talking about, and it didn't matter what I read. It seemed like I was drawn to it like a magnet, and it would just scare me to death. It was petrified. It was awful, just awful. But you know what I want to talk about, you guys? I want to talk about the importance of being willing to. Okay, so I want to talk about shunning is what I want to talk about. So the witnesses have had to deal with a whole lot of shunning. And I notice you guys have talked to us, if you don't mind me bringing this up, about a lot of shunning that you've had in your family relationships, even with your own children and your family members and that kind of thing. And I mean, you know, that's not just in religion, but it's in lots of lives outside of even the Jehovah's Witnesses. They get shunned because they're not doing exactly as the family members or the children or whatever they expect them to be like.
Got the same root, Angela. The same root. It's fear. It's fear, and you know it's. You know, when you want someone to do something, and you know it's so easy with children. You know, foisting that on your children, and it's so much easier through religion. I'm sorry to bring it back to that, but you know, it's a lot easier through religion because you have something that's a higher power telling you that this is okay to tell your children to this or that. But even though it might not be a religion, fear is the greatest way to control. And a child is so manipulatable, you know, so easy to push this way or that. Hey, you don't like that. You don't like this person. You don't like that person. Why, Dad? Why, Mom? Because we don't like them. And
because we believe this and they don't. Or they believe this and we don't.
Right. It's transmissible. It's like it's something that's easy, and it's so gross and so negligent as far as taking care of a human's emotions and being there to gild them up or to lift them up into things that are good for a human. You know, good for a human is love. Good for a human is, you know, care, compassion, patience, strength. All of those things are just kind of left by the wayside, and fear, think the way that I think, do what I do. And
if you don't,
you can't teach a child something that you're not exhibiting, because the child sees through all of those things easily. You know, and if you're telling a child, you know, think to do that, then there's no way possible that, you know, that a child can understand it, because again, the scope of understanding, the scope of experience, it's you don't have it.
Right.
And understanding, love, is all you can give to a child. And so the shunning, that comes from, I want you to be like me. I want you to be like us. And if you're not, then you're damned. And that's the greatest fear. And a kid will take that through their life, and they'll take that into adulthood. And no matter how, you try to eradicate that, somebody else tries to eradicate that, somebody that knows better, it permeates the fiber of someone. And until they experience something life-changing, some epiphany, some catastrophe, more likely than not, then they're not going to get it. This feeling has to be real. And that's what Cassandra and I have found is, to understand things, we have to immerse ourselves in life and in love and in the reality of what's happening. Our travels are solely based on that. People are walking around with, they're putting cars on their backs and houses and this is and that. And it's like they're hiding their light under these shields of this is what I have and this is what I am. And we're letting things go.
And being able to see somebody sitting there on the street, homeless, I mean, you can't help but think of, what was this person like before they were this way? They are so ashamed to think of themselves as this homeless person that doesn't have anything anymore. But when you look at them and you actually take the time to listen to what they have to say, which nobody does anymore. Everybody just walks by somebody and thinks that they're just some pile of shit on the corner. They're not. They have a story, but nobody cares to hear it. Nobody cares to hear anything anymore. They just take it at face value, or they want to put a video camera in front of what they're doing to try to help them out. They want themselves to look good for doing something good for somebody else. When all this person is asking for is, will somebody please listen to me? Will somebody please listen to the reason why I'm in this situation that I'm in? And nobody wants to anymore. So, and Angela, you and I talked about this earlier today. Looking at people in their eyes, seeing the hurt, seeing the pain, seeing the sadness that they feel. But nobody cares to look into the eyes anymore. All they see is this pile of junk laying on the ground, and
let me wash your feet.
And
let me help you. Let me understand your position, where your feet have been. That is like all the stuff, all the things that people pile on. Rich people to poor people. It's like the ascension to wealth, the ascension to happiness. The same road? No, it's the same demise. And like all of these people covering themselves over with all this crap. And this is who I am, and this is what I am, and this is my edifice or whatever.
They had everything when they were in the religion, and then when they decided that wasn't for them, now they're this pile of garbage that nobody cares about because they're no longer a part of the church. They're no longer a part of that church. So everybody thinks of them as just everybody in that church that they once felt so high up in. Now they're living on the side of the street, and nobody cares about them anymore because they're no longer a part of that religion. They're no longer a part of what they felt so good about. It's.
Is somebody trying to talk in there? I think we have a guest.
I think so.
Hello? I think so.
Hello?
Okay, I guess I'm wrong.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can
Can you
hear
hear
you.
me?
Yep.
Oh, good. I've been listening.
Great.
I just wanted to pipe in because of the shunning thing. I've dealt with that. I mean, obviously my entire life. So, but my best friend and my sister who were shunned, I left because of that, and they are both so successful and so wonderful, and I am so proud of them. And they're not like. There's no way on. Like I've walked by my friend's mother, and I guess I shunned her because I couldn't speak to her because it was I couldn't. But I'm just saying, however they look at you, it doesn't matter because
it doesn't matter. You're your own person. Like, my best friend is a very successful, very wonderful gay hairdresser in San Francisco whose parents haven't spoken to him in over a decade, you know. And I left because my parents also left because we were not going to shun my beautiful baby sister and her beautiful child who she had when she was 19.
Yeah, good for
job.
you. Good job.
Yeah.
It's been rough, and I'm so thankful for the family I have. But I'm just like saddened because I've been listening, and it's no one's a pile of garbage. Even if sometimes that's where people are left. They've been given shitty childhoods, or like that's where they have nothing to grasp onto. They've not been taught how to educate themselves or anything, and so I'm just saying, like, I hope none of anyone who has been shunned do not think of themselves that way in any way, because you're valuable and you are like important and loved, and like it doesn't matter what those people did to you to say that, because it's completely wrong, and this is just a really sensitive subject to me, and it's I just had to speak up. So
thank you.
There's no judgment that man can render unto another man that God will be satisfied with, because God is the only one that can render judgment. And God is something that we don't understand, we can't comprehend. So how can we try to judge another man? How can we try to judge anybody? We can't. All we can do is give them love. And that's all we should do.
And for me, I mean, seeing everybody, I mean, as long as everybody is doing something that they love, I mean, your gay hairdresser brother, I mean, he's doing something that he loves. Why should he be hated for being himself? There should be nobody that judges him. He's doing something that he learned. He's doing something that he is passionate about. So why on earth should he be judged for doing something that he's loved and he's taken the time to learn? Why? There should be nobody.
There's no reason. It's saddening to me. And especially because his mother was such a kind of loving person. She took me under her wing. Like, she was like, you know, I pioneered with her and all this nonsense that I had to do when he was disfellowshipped. I pretended to not be his friend, even though I was. It's just like, there was no way I wasn't going to. And going back to the earlier thing, like, I honestly, I didn't have faith. I didn't believe it. I was baptized at 12, but I didn't believe it. I looked up in the sky when I was a freshman in high school. I'm like, I don't buy all this. I don't buy this. And so I did it until I was, 22. And then when they tried to make me get rid of people I loved, I said, I'm not doing that. And so I did have to leave everyone I knew. But whatever, they left me too. They left me. They are welcome to me, but they, Anyways, I'm sorry for overtaking the conversation.
No, thank you.
No, you did great.
Good for you for sticking to your heart and
Absolutely.
sticking to who you truly are. I mean, that's what we all can do, and why not appreciate everybody for what and who they are, what they've accomplished, and not everybody. I mean, you can stick somebody that is high up in a church and tell them to cut somebody's hair the way they want it to, and you know what? He'll be able to do it. Well, all these people that have been disrespecting and not believing who he is, I mean, you know what I mean.
It's funny because I've been gone for quite a while, but I would think it would be gone by now, but like in the past 2 years, I've gotten calls from, a friend. I mean, I wasn't very close with him, but he's like, I'm gone, I'm out. And like, he called me because he knew of course I would accept him. And then we've caught up. We've met. We're friends now. And I'm so, it's amazing. He was like more in charge than me. Obviously I was a woman, but he was very, very involved, and he's like, I'm done, and I said, thank God. I'm like, it was
following part.
Yeah.
And his passion, and what he's doing.
Yeah. All right. I'm sorry. I'll mute now.
Oh, yes, he does.
We're glad you.
One of the most fundamental principles that I have to go back to. Bottom line, God is love.
Amen.
Yeah.
Can you deny that?
No.
Yeah, and let me share
God
a
is
point
love.
too about that. You know, in the Bible, it said the greatest commandment is love God and love your neighbor as yourself. Now, here's something real important. Do you remember that person, Angela Emoto? He was the guy that did he did the experiments with water. And
Hashimoto?
Yeah. Yeah, and what he did was
that.
he held hands and they prayed over this water. And what they did was they took water after it was prayed over and they put it in a refrigerator and froze it. And they could take poison water that looked yellow and red and like vile and like poison, and it would be this beautiful crystal.
Well, after they put a word on it.
Yeah, they would put a word like
on the
love
jar.
or joy or peace or whatever. And then they would put words on there like Hitler, Mussolini, and the water would turn into
Negativity, yeah.
Yes. So here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. So here was the message in the movie. And the movie, one of the movies we watched was called What the Bleep's Going On? And basically the message in the movie was we are 80 or 90% water. So they said when we have negative thoughts toward one another, guilt, shame, projection, shunning, we are killing the other person. We're killing each other with our thoughts.
Yeah.
And it's proven. It's a fact, guys. The water, when it had the love on it, when it had peace on it, it made unique, beautiful crystals. And this is proof that water is that sensitive. So, my God, if you're an empath and you're walking down the street and everybody hates you, you're going to feel it in your body. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but mentioning that,
Yeah.
just going back to, you know how you felt in your church that, for some reason you just didn't see it like everybody else was seeing it. I feel like it's because you had a gift that some sort of an intuitive or prophetic maybe, I don't know what, but some sort of gift from God of a knowingness that these things were not right, and that things were going on that shouldn't have been going on. You had a very acute and attuned eye for hypocrisy, and that's a God-given gift. And I think that Dan's right. It's absolutely unusual that you had that gift, but you also have a lot of love. You love for some reason the deep love, and you can't wait to experience it. You can't wait to get to a deeper level of it. I love that about you, but I think that God did something to you when you were born. I'm just saying because you love so much, and I think it's highly unusual that you are the way that you are. I really do. You're a pretty intense person and very deeply involved in wanting to know God in such a deep way and love. Yeah, both you guys. Yeah, and truly I mean that. And it's really touching, and I don't know, you exhibit that love in the world, and I know you guys are all about it. It's like wherever you go, you want to be that light and
written
that
all over
love.
your face.
And you know what? When we're with each other, when like I said, when you guys got here, I'm like, you know what? I feel better now that you guys are here. I feel this lighter feeling in my body because you guys arrived. Well, again, you guys are 90% water, and you're carrying, exhibiting a certain beauty in your water, because of the words that you speak and the things the intention that you have in your heart, and it causes it to emit from the water in your body out. That's why you guys are so bright. And
it actually has a healing essence
It
because
does.
what you hold in your heart, they said the heart has a bigger field of energy than any other organ in your body, and it can go out. It can go worldwide eventually. But like I said, when I met you, it was like that lady who came on earlier. She said she could feel the love and the radiance.
Uh-huh.
But I want to touch on one. Can I touch on one thing?
Sure, Dan.
Can I go back to religion a little bit?
Yeah.
Is that okay, guys?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I got to go
We're
back.
on your show.
I know I'm going backwards, but I got to touch on this. I have to touch on this. In the Jehovah's Witnesses, okay? Yeah, you're really not allowed to touch a girl's hand. Dating is like forbidden unless you're going to get married. I mean, you guys talked about a lot of things are natural. A lot of things just happen naturally. The awakening of our sexual desires, it's kind of natural, right? And I'm bringing this up for a reason, because a lot of people have a belly full of ulcers. A whole lot of people are screwed up because this desire begins to awaken in our adolescence. It starts to come to life. And what do we do with it? Well, religion tells you just forget about it, put it away, shove it down, hide it. You know, we see what
marriage.
Yeah, so I want I hate this, but I want to ask Jeriah, you know, I love the way you said this, that you had a young man experience. Could you just tell people, I mean, if I could ask you to be vulnerable, I mean, I talk about on here where I had to go in and tell the elders, you know, that I'm sexual thing, you know, and, you know, they said you're entertaining wrong thoughts, Brother Clark, and put me on reproof and public reproof and all this stuff. But tell them another story, like what happened to you in the church and the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
This natural thing that started to come up, started to arise in you that's completely normal. And I wish people would go to a therapist and listen to them, because they'd say this is part of adolescence. This is part of being a man and a woman. You start to get attracted to the opposite sex as you start growing up. But tell them what happened to you, Jeriah, if you don't mind. I know you got to be vulnerable on this one.
Oh boy.
Absolutely.
Or the same sex thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, growing up, you know, in the church and everything, it's, you know, it's the same, I think, no matter what religion you're in. You know, keep yourself pure, keep yourself this or keep yourself that. Just stay away from the opposite sex. Deny those feelings. You don't even know what those feelings are as a kid. You don't even understand it. You don't get it. You know, you're sitting in the tub, you know, the water touches something, and all of a sudden you're stimulated. You're a human. What are you going to do? You know, you're climbing a tree. You know, you lift yourself up. You know, things happen. You're like, oh my God, what is it? You don't know. And if there's nobody there to explain that on a real level, this is human. There's, you know, your physiognomy, your physiology, everything comes into play when certain things happen. There's stimulus. You see something. Oh wow, that's beautiful. It makes you flush. And you know, growing up and having to deny all of those feelings just because they were impure, because they were, you know, you're not supposed to feel this way. You know, a woman, you know, and yet reading in the Bible, David's talking about, you know, Solomon, her breasts were like the rose, the doe, something, you know, just all just that whole Songs of Solomon. And, you know, you're trying to reconcile that with, okay, I'm looking, you know, I'm 7 years old and I'm looking at this young lady and I want to hold her hand. You know, I want to touch, you know, I want to touch her hand and just be, and I'm reading books. This is all I had. I didn't have radio. I didn't have TV. I didn't have any other things. And then going up through puberty, oh my God, what are you supposed to do as a young man when your manhood is waking up? What is a woman supposed to do, a young woman, when her, you know, going through adolescence, when her womanhood is waking up, and she, you know, you see things a different way. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. And if you're castigated, if you're told that you're wrong for feeling that, it's inevitable. It's human. You can't deny it. You know, my experience, you know, it's so embarrassing, but you know, I found a Playboy, and you know, I had some pages of this Playboy, and you know, we were deep in the church growing up. Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh, and you know, being a little boy, I wanted to share it with my friends, and I'm like, oh my God, you know, boobs. And you know, I gave some pages to this guy, and I gave some pages to that guy, and we're all like, oh my gosh, wow, this is so cool. You know, we didn't know what to do with this stuff, but we knew the way that it made us feel.
And all of them wanted it.
We all wanted it, yeah.
Pat's wife didn't want it.
You know, the pages went home with the boys, and the boys got caught with their material, and they said, well, I got them from Jeriah. And I ended up having to go in front of two congregations, two different churches, on two different Sundays, and apologize as, you know, having disseminated this stuff to the boys that I knew. And I had to go up in front of everybody and apologize for giving them this material.
They wanted it.
Did they forgive you, or did they forgive you, or were you forever a pedophile? What happened?
Everybody, I was put up there as like the guy. Oh, that's the guy. He did it. Oh man, that's the guy.
I'm not going to take responsibility for that.
What am I supposed to do? I'm 12 years old.
Hey guys,
12 years old and
let me just check with Rick. Rick's back at the helm. Hey, Rick, how we doing on time? I know we're getting close. How we doing? Can't hear you, Rick.
Looks like we're doing fine.
We're waiting for Rick to say. We're almost at the 9 o'clock.
We could see Rick in the screen there. We just can't hear him.
Yeah, he's not saying anything. At least
Yeah,
I don't
he
see
is.
his lips moving. The lips are moving. Yes, they are moving.
Can't hear you, Rick. No sound.
Well, until he works out the sound, Jeriah, I just want to say, did they shun you after that?
Did they accept you?
Or did they accept? They
Hello?
and forgive?
Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Oh my God, you guys, this is nuts. I've never done a call like this. I had it on call, then I had to do the unmute, and then I had mute on my phone, so I've been talking to myself like for an hour.
No,
Not really, but
no.
it's okay. I got a lot out of myself.
I love talking to myself.
I piped in earlier, and then I just couldn't find it. I couldn't figure out how to chime back in. But I just wanted to say that I'm really. I was okay being a witness until I became a late blooming teenager who had to get a boyfriend. You have to do that to get married, and he was the greatest guy. But I feel bad. I had to break his heart and leave the religion because. Anyways, I don't know. I had so many thoughts, you guys, like through this whole conversation.
You already done said it, right?
My best friend, like, I'm just, like, definitely I don't know this group. I was just, shown it by another lady I know. And, I'm very okay with gay people and anything. Like, so I just want to make sure I'm not in a group that is, like, because I hear a lot of talk about God. We love everyone. Sorry, I'm just like, I didn't, because I heard a lot of talk about God, and then I wasn't able to ask, which is fine. My best friend was about 13, and he was, I guess, apparently, I didn't know him then, he masturbated, like, as some 13-year-olds might do. And his mother caught him.
My goodness.
And who insisted on telling his father, who was an elder, and humiliating him about that. And that never happened to me, but it feels like it did because it's my best friend. I'm like, and she's the one who I saw her at a funeral, and I guess I did shun her because I was so mad at her for being so mean to my best friend. He didn't deserve that. He did. It's a natural thing, though. Right, and but it was also because he's gay, and so that was the whole thing. But also, he's gay, but we weren't allowed to, like, get a 2-bedroom apartment. We weren't allowed to share, like, a place that's moving out.
Oh, yeah.
That would be inappropriate.
Yeah, do witnesses...
we can't be best friends.
Yeah.
Do witnesses believe
And then they disfellowshipped, and so I couldn't talk to him. So I'm like, this is bullshit. So I just... And then they kicked my sister out at the same time. So I just...
Do the witnesses
Isn't that just crazy? I grew up in it, so it was expected. So it was like, check, I guess. I don't know.
Well, did you feel like it was right, though? And
for what?
Well, to deny people, to make other people feel bad, or to leave something that you felt was right, that you felt was,
that's sure, but I was a child. That's the thing. So it was different because when you're like, I guess I was like 2 or 3 that you learn it, and that's just something that It's not like I felt like confused about it. I was like, all right, that's like to me now I'd be like, I'm confused. Like, why the hell would you do that? But at that point in my life, it was like, of course that's what's gonna happen. Of course my sister, she was 17. But you know what? My parents were they said they don't. every time I visit my parents, sometimes the JWs stop by. I never call them that, but they would stop by, and they are always so happy to see each other. I don't know why. I know, because I'm like, you were really okay with me, like, not being there, but now there's just so, like, oh, it's so good to see. I'm like, I don't think it's really that great to see you, like, anymore.
Yeah.
I feel you. Like, they come to, and they're still trying to get at my mom, and she's so over it. She's like, just stop. You know, there's all these like older single ladies who are my mom's age, so now she's in there. Like, when they got her in, she was a single mother of a few little kids, you know, and then my dad joined with her, you know, and then now she's like, you know, a retired mom at home. But, you know, I don't know. I don't think they'll get her. She thinks.
I'm so glad that you called in and you're able to express the things that you are, because it takes a strong person to be able to just express yourself, especially on a radio show, and for you to have the strength to do that. I mean, I hope that. I just hope that you. I don't even know how to word it, but just the fact that you're like
strong enough. I think I know what Cassandra's trying to say. You know, that when we're in these places where we don't know what to do, you know, we're supposed to surrender unto God, and you know, I mean that just means from the way that we feel.
Or any of you Jehovah's Witnesses, or specifically, I couldn't quite grasp what, because it seems like it's different. I know like the Pentecostal.
This is Rick Farron. I'm sorry, we've got to step in here.
Okay, it's
We've
Rick.
got to step in here. We've got another program coming up. I just want to see, DeLon, are you on with us? DeLon, are you on with us? Hit *6 if you are.
Is that you?
That's me. It's Rick Farron. Hit the control panel. We got another program coming up here. I just want to make sure.
I'll mute now.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Yep.
I just want to let you know that we love you.
We love you. Thank you for
We'll
coming.
bring it back. Hold on. We'll bring it back on if this one's not on with it. We're trying to get a hold of DeLon. She's got a program. DeLon, are you on with us? Hit *6 if you are, DeLon. *6 if you're on with us, DeLon. I know that, you know, she's got a program coming up here, so we've got to get her in if she wants to. If not, we're going to count to 10, and that'll be it. We won't bring DeLon on tonight. I know she said she was not feeling good, but we got to know whether she's coming on or not. DeLon, are you coming on tonight or not with your program, Life After the Storm? Are you coming on, DeLon, yes or no? Okay. Well, we're going to give you guys the green light. We're going to let that program go, and you guys have got the floor, so keep going, Dan and Angela. Sorry to cut in here, but we're trying to. Go ahead. We have DeLon, you on with us? *6. All right, you guys go ahead. That's it. We're going to list. We're going.
If she comes on anytime,
Are you still here, sister?
if she comes on anytime, she could come in anytime.
Yeah,
Well, we're gonna try to keep this thing really. You know, it's very difficult here at the 6 screens. You know, I work on this all day long, and I'm not complaining, just explaining. But I have to know what's going on. We have programs, and you know, we can't come in and interrupt stuff, and we got good things going, and so we gotta. I'm just speaking out loud. We gotta, you know, keep this thing organized. So I'm gonna delete the program tonight. DeLon, if you're not on with us, we'll see you in 2 weeks. But we're gonna continue with Dan and Angela's program tonight. So you guys continue on.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, guys. Well, hey, you're still there, right? Jeriah and Cassandra?
Yeah, we're still here.
Good, yeah. So we were just talking about, let's just finish that up. I just want to say that sexual desire, I got to tell you this. It's like being between a rock and a hard place. How the hell do you escape it? You know, guys, how do you escape it? I mean, I went to those elders. I went in the back room. They put an X on the calendar. They put another X on the calendar the next week. And then they started taking my privileges. And like you said, I don't know what the heck's going on. Nobody there's a therapist. 100% abstinence. 100% stop doing what you're doing. I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on in my body. Nobody's telling me. And so I'm in between a rock and a hard place. Well, what happens when you're in between a rock and a hard place? Your body starts to have problems. You know why it does? It's a mind-body connection. And I start getting sick. And guess what? There was no relief. Everyone just looked down their noses, looked down their glasses, looked down at me with shame. Nobody said we're going through the same thing. Nobody said we're having the same problem. Nobody. I was out there by myself, dealing with myself in my own head. And guess what I started thinking? I started thinking I must be part of Satan's world because I'm the only one out of 5 million people that can't get a handle on this thing. And everyone else was doing the same thing, but nobody would admit it. You know what, guys? That right there almost killed me. It almost killed me. And I heard a guy on here one night say that he was trying to pull his eyeballs out. The Bible says if your eye's making you stumble, pull it out. Pull it out. Yeah, you know, and man, I mean, if people were honest, there'd be a steady line to the elders. There'd be hundreds, there'd be millions of people.
That's exactly the point. Honesty. Because when you come to the point where you realize that something is real, like Cassandra and I came to the point where, after believing this one thing permeated. A lot of people thought that, we were faking, I was faking, she was faking, we're faking love, this is all fake, you don't believe that. And, but after 8 years of being persistent and loving somebody and going after it, that's real. I mean, can you say I've been faking for 8 years? And, what do I want? What is my point? What am I trying to get at here? It's that this feeling is real. You know what I mean? And denying yourself, judgment, being ostracized or being, excommunicated or something for a feeling or whatever, that's the worst thing. The purpose is understanding. And when people don't give you understanding, they give you explanation.
Well, you know something?
That's so defeating. Because if I don't understand what you're trying to tell me, if I don't understand the feelings that I'm having and I can't rationalize them with the real world, then it doesn't make any sense. Right. If I have this feeling, or so, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm looking at my body, I'm looking at things happening, and nobody is explaining it to me in a real way, then it's not going to make sense. And again, it comes back to the scope of experience. That's all you have. As a kid, as a whatever, as an old man, as a young man, you can only rely on your scope of experience. So that's the thing. People are being put into these groups, religions, where this is right, that's wrong. If you depart from this, then you're wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if those barriers were taken away and there was just understanding and somebody listening and saying, hey, wow, well, what's going on? Well, what's happening? And they weren't going from, I know everything, from that vantage point, I know everything, let me tell you the right way. Maybe it's, hey, well, you're feeling that, okay, well, the love transcends all of that. Because if you approach that feeling, so somebody that you don't even know, if you approach that feeling and you say, hey, well, I don't know what's going on, but what I understand, what I've seen is this,
And when you go into a relationship only knowing, if you had sexual relations with one person, how do you know that is the right person for you? You don't. This is this one time, and you're supposed to marry this person after this one relation. how do people learn things? How do men learn other things about women when they only see one, when they're only supposed to be able to touch and feel one and be able to have sex with one, and that's who you're supposed to be with forever? You don't know anything else about all these other things that are out there.
That's right.
You have to experience other things. You have to. Because if you don't experience it and you look at something else and you think that, what is that? What is that? And then you have to tell lies because you want to experience something else. That is against everything. And when religion tells you that once you have sexual relations with one person, that's who you are supposed to be with for forever.
Is that holding a hand or touching it? Or?
No, you have no idea. You only know that. You only know that one person. You don't know the touch of anyone else because you've never had the chance to experience anything else. And that's where cheating and infidelity, all of that thing comes into play.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Hey, real quick, I would say, one guy says every elder does it, but they like to use it against you. This is Tino. And there's somebody trying to say something. Hold on 1 second. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add into the fact that evolving together as a couple, as a friendship, as a partnership, evolving together and learning from one another and really choosing one another, I think is another spiritual side of life. That,
oh my God, you've got that right.
Yeah.
That you really, really can find what I think God, if you will, or a higher power or whatever you believe in, really has given you that gift to share that moment with another human being, because you can learn, you can grow, you can educate yourself every day, you can become a better person every day. But what it takes to grow with somebody, to evolve with somebody, is something that is so very special, and it's not an easy thing to do. It is not. Especially Cass, we are not the easiest people to get along with. Sometimes we're the most amazing people to get along with. But we are very opinionated, we are very loving, we are very bold, we are very strong women. And it takes very strong people to be in our lives, too. And it also takes moments of understanding to say, all right, well, this is how I see this, a certain situation, and that's okay. You might not think how I think. You might not feel how I feel, and that's okay. But when you have your partnership, you have your friend, you have your human, your mister, the one, and you know that you're going to continue to grow and evolve, which clearly has happened. I've seen it, I've watched it happen, and I just wanted to add that. So,
Chelsea, you have no idea. Your story with you and Booster, like, I tell it everywhere, and you just evolving into this beautiful, even more beautiful than, you know how my parents saw us as adolescents together. I was the naughty one. Always the naughty one. I know. Daughter. But seeing how you and Booster have created this love together, that, going from...
If people hate us, his ex still spits venom, and there's all these things and this hatred. But you know what? Let them spit that. Let them have that. That's their hatred. That's their moment in life. And you know what? At the end of the day, that's their business. It's not ours. And that's kind of what I wanted to reiterate with you, is that it's not a thing against you two. Not everybody has the insight. Not everybody knows what you've been through. Not everybody sees what you've been through. Not everybody can truly grasp. What is what you guys know, and that's what's important. The fact that you guys have truly evolved and continue to grow every day and become your stronger, better, faster, smarter version of each other. And that's
you are a part of it. And we love you. We love you guys.
We love you too so much.
So we love you so much.
And you seriously took the time to listen. We love you, and yeah, you're gonna. I get it, but Charles, we love you. Cass.
Cassie.
Oh my God.
They call Cassandra Cassie,
Hey,
everybody.
Yes.
Hey, thanks for that one time. You know that one time when I was like, hey, buddy, can you come make sure this human's like okay and alive? Because that's I'll never forget that.
I remember that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love you
my
guys.
God.
I'm going to mute myself, but
So-
I love you guys, and I'm listening, and I think it's so awesome that we get more time. I want to hear, I think everybody really wants to hear more about your personal growth and the relationship with God versus not God, religion versus not religion, the spiritual aspect of it is what's amazing to me. That's where I really connect with you guys. I believe that everybody deserves to believe what they want to believe, and I just know that you guys live that life, and I think that that's great. And also, I want to say that kids always know the truth. It might take them a while, but they do, and I know that because I came from divorced parents as well. And truth always comes out. It might take a minute.
Yeah.
It might take a hot minute, and it does. But just keep believing, keep living your life with kindness and love, because that's what you guys are about, and everybody sees it. And people that choose not to see it, that's okay. That's their business. We don't. That's on their end. So.
And Chelsea, one thing I have to let you know that your love has always been so much appreciated by us. The way that the two of you come together and just love, the way you stand up for each other has been something that has been so admirable for us to see, and for you just sticking by my side, our side. It's something that we will always love.
Always and forever. I love you, bitches. I love you always and forever. Booster sends his love. Yes.
All right.
So,
All right.
so you guys, Carrie says that this Carrie on the suite here that you guys can't see, but she says that this is a place that we air out these feelings, and that but the bottom line is we never get over it. What do you guys think about this? Do we get over these things, or is there a way to get over them, or how do you get over them if you could? What's your thought about this? These hurtful things.
Bottom line, what we found is, that there's, I love going back to it, but, for us, the bottom line just has been love, and if you find it, if you can find yourself, and find, that quiet place, whether it's out on the porch where, you don't know if you should believe in it, you don't know if it's real, you don't know if it's out there, it's something that you can't understand until you feel it, but it's there. You have to believe in it, and you have to stay strong in it.
Never give up
in it.
and figure out the reason why.
The thing about human is we are constantly tested, and we're not tested because there's some big, great, thing out there saying, oh, I'm going to test you, you need fire and this and that. It's because we are given everything that we need. When we're provided with an obstacle, we're not provided with that obstacle because it's mean or because it needs to be there.
Right.
We're provided with that obstacle so that we can be proven that we have everything that we need to overcome that adversity at that moment. When we find something in our way, we have the tools, we have the preparation, we have what we need to get over it. You are strong enough. You pray for strength. What are you given? Are you given strength? No, you're given the opportunity to overcome something, to provide the strength to get over it. If you need patience, what are you provided with? You're provided with the opportunity to be patient. You are strong enough, no matter what, to get through it, to overcome any adversity, any obstacle. There's an architect out there. I don't call it God, call it whatever you want. There is something that we are not able to comprehend as humans. There's a feeling, there's something intangible that we have as humans, all humans, to be stronger than anything in front of us.
And when you're born, you are provided with all the tools. You're provided with the tools with the love that you are given. As soon as you are born, you are given the tools for anything. It depends on where you use the tools and what you use them for. And even if you don't have the tools, if you ask for them, you don't have to ask for exactly what it is. You can ask for the tools to get you to where you need to be. We don't ask for $1 million. Never. That's asinine. But if you want it, you can ask for the tools to make you be there. And I know a millionaire is completely thrown out. Whatever. But even if something as much as $20, if that's what you need, just ask if you can be given the tools to help you in a way to get that.
You're not born to avoid death. You're born to embrace life.
Yes.
And love makes everything possible.
And a lot of times, guys, like a lot of the people that are listening on here, have been indoctrinated into this religion. Like Jeriah said, it's an indoctrination thing. And we fully believed it. And it becomes a curse on you. It's the Bible to me, for me, for a long time, I considered was a deadly weapon. Old Testament scared me to death. But I'm going to tell you something. I just want to go back to this sexual thing real quick. Yeah, if you're in between a rock and a hard place, which means I don't have nowhere to go, okay? The scripture says pull your eyes out.
We keep thinking that's funny that you say that.
What's that?
We keep thinking the sexual thing between the rock and a hard place is a little bit humorous.
Oh, gotcha, yeah. But yes. Yeah, so I'm like there's nowhere to go, right? You go to the elders and they say, well, let's read what the Bible says. If you've done this thing, go outside the city, you're unclean. What the hell does that mean? If your eye's making it stumble, pull it out. If you look at a woman twice with lust, you've committed adultery already. You're done for. You are done for in there. And here's what happens. Here's what was happening to me. As I was being rejected, as I was going to these crazy elders, as I was going in there and really making an ass of myself and being open and honest and pure and and literally, guys, I've thrown around furniture, I've recorded myself being angry at myself and still fell back, okay? But here's what happens. There's nowhere to go. You're in your body. You're in your mind. What happens, and we talked about this, Jeriah and Cassandra, compartmentalization. What happened to me, guys, was I had a choice in my head. Do I continue to go to these guys and say, well, I fell back again, I fell back again, or do I lie? Because the next step for me was put you out of the organization. See, they already went up in front of the hall and said, Brother Clark is entertaining wrong thoughts. Brother Clark, how did they say it? Conduct unbecoming a Christian, right? Yeah. So the next step, so the next step for me was to put me out. Where do I go? Where do I go when I'm in my head, when my body's doing its own thing, and my head, and I'm saying I can't win this? I'm done for, guys. This is like real stuff, guys. It almost killed me. I was almost done for. I wanted to kill myself. And you know why I did? Because nobody had the courage. And I said this on 3ABN. It was a television show we did. I said, when are you elders going to come forward? When are you priests going to come forward? When are you pastors going to come forward and say, you've done it. You do it too. You're working on it. You still maybe struggle with it. What's wrong with you? They turned off the cameras. 3ABN ran out. The old men ran out. You can't say this on our television show. You can't do this. And I said, well, let's get real or we're out of here. We got to say it like it is. People need help. You're putting them in boxes. You're putting them under duress. And you know something, guys? It is no joke. So what happens? You start to compartmentalize. You're either going to go into, I'm doing better now. I'm okay, really. I've got control. And you start lying to yourself. And when you start lying to yourself, guys, we go into an altered reality. We start living the lie. We start defending the lie. We're not in touch with our true nature. What is worse? So...
And then we start lying about other things.
Look, it's the acceptance of the refusal the human, like the id, as through adulthood and into being old people. You refuse accountability simply because you don't want to be that guy. There's going to be another guy that's going to say, hey, you know what? I did this. And that guy's the fall guy. That's your guy. You know what? Accountability for your own emotions and for your own feelings. That's shunning, right? Because, and this is one of the things for me, Cassandra, that was so real, so visceral, coming to it. Being able to say, bald-faced, letting yourself be naked, taking off all your clothes in front of somebody and saying, this is me, I'm sorry, without knowing that they're going to say, you know what, me too, I'm sorry too, and then embrace that naked embrace. When you take everything off, you take off the makeup, you take off the clothes, peel back the layers and say, look, you know what, I did it, this is me, I'm sorry, and bury yourself. It's doing that, not with the expectation of reciprocity, it's with the expectation of yourself dropping away. You're accountable for what you've done, for your feelings. Now, to be thrown to the wolves, to be castigated, to be ostracized, to be excommunicated because of a feeling that comes to you as a human, naturally, God doesn't get and God, for me, as a concept, the universe, the architect, whatever it may be, is not going to give you, made in His image, something on your body, in your mind, from birth, that's going to divide you spiritually against yourself. You've got to be shown that these things, not even shown, but you've got to be accepted for the things that come to you naturally, and these things need to be explained.
Yes, explained.
They need to be explained and understood.
Not shunned away.
Not shunned away. It happens. I'm sorry. I got to, whatever happened. But as a kid, as an adolescent, prepubescent, pubescent, teen, adolescent, whatever it is, these things happen.
Hey,
to be told that it's wrong, it's terrible. It's a tragedy, and it's just so wrong.
Let me say this, you guys, real quick. Let me just say this real quick. This guy is saying, before it goes off the screen, Tino is saying that he's trying to say that things affected his life, that we need to get to a place where we can forgive ourselves for having been so good-natured to have listened to lying wolves. Part of it I missed. It got cut off before it went off the screen. Sorry, but that he was just talking about that we need to accept ourselves and forgive ourselves. I got cut off. It's so sad, but and just to realize these things. I thought it was really good, but it got cut off before I could read it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I thought I could say it. He said when you break it down. He said he added some more. He says when you break it down, what did we do wrong? What did we do wrong? We wanted to please God out of thanks for His goodness. That sounds like a decent human being to me. Someone came and took that goodness and used it against us to manipulate us and use us. Shame on them. That was Tino. I like that, Tino.
I agree.
Yeah.
Carrie said they're right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The judgment, who are you to judge? Let you, who is without sin, cast the first stone, and the stones drop to the floor.
Yes, that's right. Good thought.
The first thing they try to do, a therapist, is they try to get you out of your head. A lot of witnesses that come out of there can't get this stuff out of their head. It's like a record. It has been so programmed. We have been beaten, programmed, reminded again, assemblies, dramas, God's angry, God's mad, God's going to kill. I mean, we have been so filled with fear. And the first thing people got to do, I got to tell you something. Yeah, when I met Angela, when I looked in the Bible as a witness, there were just a few things I knew. God's name is Jehovah, he wasn't a Trinity, and Babylon the Great, right? Paradise Earth Tomorrow. And Angela started reading me these scriptures in the Bible, and I said, where the hell is that scripture? What are you talking about? That scripture ain't in the Bible, God's love and all this stuff. And she showed me a whole nother world within the same Bible. And I was like, whoa, oh my God, where was I at? Well, what happened was the Jehovah's Witnesses...
That's okay with you.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Linda James. Was somebody just on there?
Somebody calling in?
I thought Linda James was on
Somebody
there.
was trying to talk. Was that you, Cassandra? Cassandra,
No.
was that you? No? Okay. All
It,
right.
it was Linda.
Oh, it was Linda. Okay.
Yeah, but
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Hey, Miss Linda James, it's Mark Taft.
Hi, Linda.
Hey, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Hey, how y'all doing? I'm back on, so yeah, I'll go on. I want to say hello to Dad and everyone. How are you?
Good.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Dan?
Yes.
Yes, thank
Dan,
you. Yeah, we hear you.
you didn't do your weekly Bible reading in preparation for Theocratic Ministry School, did you?
Oh, my.
No.
Shame, Dan.
I'm so sorry.
Whip.
You have been judged and found wanting. Because otherwise, I'm kidding. I'm still kidding. You would have come across these things that Angela showed you.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
I know that you didn't do your. I know you didn't do your weekly Bible reading now.
You're right.
You're right. He just read what they were. He just read what they were telling him to read. That's all.
I was traumatized. Here's the thing, guys. When people show you in the Bible, usually a religion will run you through their tapestry. Like the witnesses, I think Sharon said one time, they use 150 some scriptures. Well, there's a lot more of that in the Bible. So they indoctrinated me into their tapestry, just like if you're in Mormonism, everything is covenants and doctrines, and God had a prophet and Prophet Moroni. So
they have
there's
their 150 things that you
they
know.
have their scriptural tapestry. When you go into Seventh-day Adventists, they have a tapestry. And so I was totally indoctrinated into the Jehovah's Witness tapestry. But you know what's weird, guys? Those words didn't mean nothing. In that Bible, those words were just words on a page. But I'm going to tell you something. When you believe something is real, when you say, that's real, that's the Bible, it's unequivocally the Word of God, do you know what? That can be a curse or it can be a blessing. And the witnesses have used this shit as a deadly weapon to hurt us. And like someone said on the screen, it's to control us. You think about it. You can't get control of your sex.
Yeah.
When I wish to do right, bad is present with me. Where the hell's the good? It was all, I'm bad, I'm a sinner, I'm no good. I told this guy in the church one time, I said, why is the first thing every year you do is remind everybody there's a sinner? And everyone goes, yeah, that's what I am. I'm a sinner. Saved by, and it's like, why? The Bible also said what God made was good and very good. Why can't you tell them that? Why can't you build on the goodness of people instead of that they're shit? Why would you do that to your own kid? Why would you take your own kid and say, you're a piece of shit, and and someone had to die for you because you're such a piece of crap? And women, by the way, started all this stuff anyway. I mean, why? I said, why? What God made was good and very good. We are made in His image and likeness. We're to come into union. See, there was so much whoever's talking that I did not know because I was under the possession, the possession. I was possessed by Jehovah's Witness ideology that consumed my temple. They run me. The witnesses run me.
Yeah, and Tino's saying that he felt overwhelmed. He said that I always said the reason they overloaded you with so many requirements was so that they could point to you and say that you weren't doing, what you weren't doing right, and then blame you for not feeling right. And like, I don't know, I don't know what he's trying to say there. It's a little bit muddled, but you don't feel like you you live in a spiritual paradise. Well, I notice you haven't been answering at the meetings much. You need to do more of that and to feel like you are part of the congregation. So he's just saying, I feel like he's saying that just a bunch of accusations, when you don't feel quite right, or you're not answering quite right, or you're not measuring up. It's just judgment, and you never feel quite right. And then they judge you for that because you must be doing something wrong if you don't feel right. It's this constant barrage.
Yeah, and here's the thing, guys. The witnesses have a program for stealing your inner temple. They have a program, and here's the program. Your heart is treacherous and desperate. Don't look at it. Don't trust it. It'll mislead you. The heart is treacherous and desperate. Who can know it? So you lose that part of yourself. That's part of your inner temple. Your left brain. We have all your answers. We're the watchtower. God's pointed us over the spiritual belongings. We're also your spiritual connection. We hear Jehovah for you because Jesus gives us the spiritual food to give you at the proper time. So guess what? You don't have to use your right brain, your left brain, or your heart. And they say, we'll fill that void. And so you come in, when you become a Jehovah's Witness, you agree to that. You actually take an obligation. You go to the elders and you say, yeah, you are the faithful and discreet slave who are to give me my food at the proper time. And yeah, my heart is no good. And when I wish to do right, I do wrong. So thank God I have you guys to fill in my inner temple and tell me what to do and tell me what's wrong with me so that I can function. And so that's the Jehovah's Witness ideology. And then when you try to leave, they scare you to death. They really put a death sentence on you. They tell you you're going to suffer the second death. They tell you you're not going to be resurrected again. You're going to be crushed. I mean, this is a crazy thing. So what you guys are saying tonight about trust in your heart, when I looked in the Bible, like I said, when Angela started reading these other scriptures, I said, my God, there's a whole nother world. And here's what I want to tell people out there. Just outside of your belief systems, I don't care what they are, just outside of your belief systems is a whole nother world. There's a whole nother world. If you will collapse, like I did with the witnesses, you will find there's a whole nother world. You were just a program. You were just a receiving and playback device. You received information, it became indoctrinated in you, then you played it out. You lived it out. But I'm going to tell you something. Just beyond this infrastructure of beliefs is a whole nother world.
Yeah, and I want to say something very interesting that just occurred to me. Okay, so you know how that guy just came on and was teasing Dan about that he obviously didn't, read his scriptures and that kind of thing?
Shame on you, Dan.
Yeah, right. Okay, so suddenly it hits me about that. Is that, the witnesses made it so that you guys had so many different things you had to do every single night of the week. You had the Bible and Tract Society, whatever. You had the training to go out in the field service. You had Sunday church. You had, every single night of the week something was going on, almost every single night. And so, all you had time for was to read the scriptures that had to do with the literature so that you could answer questions correctly and do your talk correctly or whatever it is you had to do correctly. And if you didn't, you would get in trouble. So there's no time to read other parts in the Bible at all. I think that's one of their tactics. So that you would never find out the truth, and you never know that there's other things in the Bible that contradict what they had to say, like that God's love and that He loves you, and the prodigal son story they told in the wrong way. They twisted it in their Bible and made it out like that God's this mean, mad God. I mean, they twisted it, and so they made it out so you would never know the real God because they kept you so dang busy, which is a cult tactic, that you don't have time to read anything else. So you would never know the truth, and so that's sick. And I just thought about it. That's why
Angela, let me parallel that with the whole. I mean, at the bottom line, and I hate to make this parallel, but it's kind of the same thing. Looking at, what is book burning? It's erasing those things that you don't want people to know, simply by kind of pushing them aside, eradicating them as much as you possibly can, so that you can fill in what you want them to know. I mean that's indoctrination, whatever. If you can't have this other information, then you're just going to have the information that I have. And what else is that, what you're saying? Then it's indoctrination. It's fear-mongering. It's instilling a certain principle in place of others that you may feel. There are things that you may know or you may understand are right with the thing that everybody else is going along with, simply because everything else has been eradicated.
Yeah.
Hitler did it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but at the bottom line, that's the principle.
You know what?
Taking away the things that.
And you know what happens eventually is you risk everything, because you know why you end up leaving your religion or leaving whatever it is, because you feel like you're already dead. Like I felt like I was already dead. I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. I'm just making mistakes all the time. They made it impossible for me to come to any sort of comfortableness with myself. They made it impossible for me to have peace with myself. And so what happened was I would rather go out and die, because I was already dead in there. And you just, it's taken an effect on your body. It's affecting your organs. It's a mind-body connection. So the reason people will walk away is because they're already dead. Right? And if anybody else wants to chime in, feel free to call in.
Go ahead.
I only know how to offer cup noodles, so I put it in, and I realized I took it out. When I took it away a little bit, I saw that the middle chicken flavor thing was actually embedded into the ramen. So I, take it out, and I literally just threw it outside.
We're having cooking class now, guys. It's gone from ranting and raving. Ranting and raving about Jehovah's Witnesses to a cooking class. This is great. You guys are something else.
We're crazy.
I would like to chime in and mention like Angela's comments and how she was describing about the religion having, so much control over your daily life and not having any time for anything other than spiritual activities. And the other gentleman commented also on that. But that really is just a cult control tactic that...
this session is no longer being recorded.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. We're still there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know. Maybe I cut out before, but I was just kind of reiterating on Angela's comment before, how she was describing the control over even your personal life and personal time. With the recording has started, and you have no other time to pursue anything personally or your own personal development. It is all about pursuing the religion, the ministry, like she said, and that really is just a very standard cult tactic that has been used, from cults for ages. And then the other gentleman mentioned, the same thing with Nazism, and which can also be likened to a cult. The way a group can take control over your mind and your actions, and again, it's just more proof that this religion is a cult. And I don't know if anybody's read much of Stephen Hassan's works, but he has been very enlightening on the Jehovah's Witness religion as well. And he's a professor who goes into cult ideology, cult mechanisms, mind control, all of those things. And it's really scary to realize how easy it is for any individual to really become wrapped up in any ideology so strongly that it takes control of your entire life, and you actually feel happy about throwing away your life for this ideology. So I just wanted to throw my 2 cents out there.
Thank you.
And you know how you said that the spirituality, that they keep you all busy with the spirituality? Well, I want to just add to that and say, no, it's their twisted, packaged, only what they want you to know spirituality. And it's even sicker. I mean, it's so confining. It's so narrow. It's so small packaged.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so sick,
Absolutely. And the other part of that is, information control.
Yeah.
Controlling what their members or what your potential members are able to see.
Yes.
Putting rules on information. That too is a cult tactic, and it's honestly, a human rights abuse also.
It is. Oh my gosh, yes. Yes, it is.
I just want to chime in real quick. I just want to check with Rick and see how we're doing on time. I know Linda James starts in just a little bit here, but we just want to make sure. Rick gave us some extra time. We were filling in for somebody, but we want to make sure everything's good with Rick. He's in the suite.
Yeah, in fact, I just want to say that life after the storm with DeLon, she got sick. She got very sick tonight, so I was just on the phone with her. So she'll be back in 2 weeks, but sad to hear that. But I'm glad you guys could kind of fill in for her and stay with us here tonight. So, yeah, somewhere around midnight or so, we'll bring Linda James on. But you guys are doing great. Listening here, it's wonderful. I go back and forth. I got 2 studios here in my house. So sometimes you don't see me here, but I'm in the other ones checking for echoes and everything else. So keep you guys moving forward. Keep going.
All right.
We had somebody say in the suite that they can't hear the phone.
I think Rick fixed it.
Oh, did he? Okay, because then they said they got on the suite.
Yeah, what it is sometimes that's why I have another little studio in the other room, and I go in there, and then I can hear myself exactly what's being broadcast over the various networks that we have here.
Gotcha.
And there was a little bit of an echo, but I straightened that out. But so sometimes it's on the hand of the people calling in. Their computer might have to be rebooted or whatever. We have so many people coming into the 6 screens that you're going to get variable, comments on what's going on for echoes and what have you. But right now things seem to be good. So you guys keep moving.
Okay.
Right,
so we got about 10 minutes. Is that what it is then, Rick? Because that'll be 12 minutes.
Yeah, go 10 minutes. If you need a little more, I'm sure Linda will give it to you. But say 10, 15 minutes. Okay.
We don't need it. Well, I want to...
right.
Jeriah, are you still there? And Cassandra, are you still there? We want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys. We want to thank you so sincerely for sharing your story. We wondered if you had any final comments or
And anybody else who wants
say.
anybody else who wants to call in *6, and you can talk or say whatever you want because we got about 10 minutes, so or a few more minutes. So if you want to say anything, you've been thinking about some things, anything resonating with you about what we're talking about, feel free. Just say, hey, I want to chime in.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you both for giving us the opportunity to for people to listen to our story and listen to how much love has completed us, and media